Welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano, and on today's program, we will learn about the Quincy Lead Abatement Program. First, though, as always, we check out the weather and the news for you this morning. Currently in Quincy, some sunshine through the clouds out there. It's 57 degrees, kind of breezy. Temperatures will top off in the partly sunny lower 60s this afternoon. Tonight, increasing cloudiness, low of 51, and a little damp weather on our way for a couple of days this week. Starting tomorrow afternoon, some showers roll in. It'll be rather cool, highs only in the upper 50s. It'll start out wet on Wednesday with some morning rain, maybe some clearing later in the day. Highs Wednesday in the mid 60s, and very nice here on Thursday with sun, just a few clouds, and a high in the low 60s. Again, we have 57 degrees with some sunshine in Quincy this morning. In the news today, a proposal for a new housing development at the former Quincy Medical Center up on Whitwell Street is moving forward despite objections from residents. Fox Rock Properties of Quincy is scheduled to go before the Planning Board on November 7th to request approval to build 465 units in 7 separate buildings on that 15-acre site. Now, members of the Hospital Hill Neighborhood Association say they will continue to oppose the plan, claiming it's too large for the residential area and will cause traffic and parking problems throughout the area. Fox Rock says they've reduced the size of the project from an initial proposal for 598 units of housing, and that they have responded to neighbors' concerns by reducing the size of the project and increasing the buffer zone between the neighborhood and the new development. Fox Rock purchased that property from Steward Healthcare when the hospital closed in 2014. Controversial proposal for a new apartment complex near Quincy Center has been approved. The Zoning Board of Appeals recently okayed the proposal for a 5-story, 39-unit apartment complex on Newcomb Street. The new building will replace a single-family home and a 2-family home, including 64 parking spaces on the bottom 2 levels, with the apartments on the upper 3 floors. Board voted 4-1, with Chairman Marty Akins opposed. He called the plan too large for that residential neighborhood. Ward 1 Councilor Dave McCarthy and Councilor at Large Ann Mahoney also opposed the plan for the same reasons. The proposal was downsized from an initial plan of a 6-story, 52-unit apartment complex. Developer says concerns about traffic and flooding have been addressed in the plans. Quincy police asking for the public's help in locating a man wanted for breaking into a Squantum property recently. Police say this man was captured on video surveillance at a home on Bellevue Road at about 2 a.m. last Tuesday. A woman called 911 while watching the man go from her garage over to her attached shed. Now, the woman remained on the phone while officers responded. However, suspect had fled before police arrived. It's not believed that anything was stolen, but police are asking anybody with information about the suspect to call Quincy Police. The New Directions Counseling Center at Interfaith Social Services in Quincy Center is welcoming 2 new therapists. Brett Dixon and Caitlin Cake both recently joined the team of mental health and addiction recovery professionals. Dixon specializes in depression, anxiety, PTSD, grief, and substance abuse in children and adults. And Cake works with clients of all ages dealing with issues including depression, anxiety, OCD, low self-esteem, and social anxiety. The New Directions Counseling Center provides services on a sliding fee scale to people with no insurance, plus most insurance is accepted. Interfaith Social Services is now in its 72nd year. Well, now that you're up to date with weather and news, let's check out our programming lineup for later on today here on Quincy Access Television. It'll start with a replay of this program Currently in Quincy at 5 o'clock. 6 o'clock a.m. Quincy. Tonight we chat with Ward 6 Councilor William Harris. This year's Quincy Arts Fest award ceremony at 6:30 on Channel 8. Then Eye on Quincy is live tonight at 7. Eight o'clock, the North Quincy Pembroke football game from October 12th. At And at the library concert at 10 o'clock with Vanessa Holroyd and Tim McCree. Then at 11 o'clock tonight, it is Democracy Now! Check out Channel 9 every day. Learn about different Quincy city departments and committee activities. We begin at 5:30 with Quincy in Focus. Then 6 o'clock, your police department. Tonight, the police department's social media. FYI from the Quincy Health Department at 6:30. Timely topic, autumn rakes and pains. And tonight's City Council meeting is live, beginning at 7 o'clock from City Hall. Get a complete program schedule on our website. Just go to qatv.org, and when you get there, click on Program Schedule. Don't forget to, as always, we ask you to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and see our weekly ad in the Quincy Sun. Coming up, we'll take a look at a few of the current events and activities that are featured right now in our electronic bulletin board on Channel 8 for your information. Please stay tuned. We're back with you in just 1 minute. Welcome back. Here is a check of some of the current events and activities we're showing on our electronic bulletin board on Channel 8 for your information. Central Baptist Church in Quincy Center inviting you to their first annual craft fair, October 26th from 10 to 4. It'll feature raffles, a book table, a food table, crafts, and vendors. If you'd like to reserve a table, call 617-479-6512. Eastern Nazarene College presents Titanic. It's running through October 25th at the Cove Fine Arts Center. You can go to brownpapertickets.com or call the box office at 617-745-3715. Quincy Animal Shelters Save Them All Ball 20th Anniversary Celebration is October 26th from 7 to 11 up at the Terrell Room on Quarry Street. There'll be dancing, drinks, food, and prizes, all part of the celebration. Visit their website, quincyanimalshelter.org. And the Quincy Lions Club's annual pancake breakfast is set for October 27th from 8 to noon at the 1000 Southern Artery Main Dining Hall, and you'll be able to get your tickets right at the door. If you have an event or an activity you'd like to promote, visit our website, qatv.org. Just download a bulletin board request form. Fill it out, send it in, get that message up here on Channel 8 too. Coming up, we will learn all about Quincy's lead abatement program next. Welcome back. We're here to learn about a new program here in the city of Quincy that could help you rid your home of lead. And Sherry Zoe and Nate Robinson from the city's planning department have stopped on by to give us a little insight into the Quincy lead abatement program and to find out if you might qualify. So Sherry and Nate, welcome to both of you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Joe.
Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having us, Joe.
You're very welcome. It's an important topic, certainly. I don't think we have to really get into the issue of why it's important, to have lead removed from your home, particularly if you have young children. It's been proven time and time again, scientifically, chemically, medically, that causes problems for young children, especially in the very early stages of life, brain development issues and other serious health effects. So, Sherry, I understand that you initially applied for a grant, a federal grant, to get this program going. So how did that all start?
Right, so our department applied and we received the grant for $2 million earlier this year. And so we implemented the new program. It's called the Quincy Lead Abatement Program. It allows owners, tenants to apply for this program for up to $10,000 financial assistance for lead abatement to receive a full compliance in accordance to the Massachusetts lead law.
Okay. What was it that inspired you to do this initially? You know, how did you get the idea?
Well, actually, before I came to Quincy, I was with Brockton, and Brockton, City of Brockton, also we recently received the grant.
Okay.
And when I came on board, knowing that the city didn't have one, we went ahead and tried to apply for, and we received the grant.
Okay.
Fortunately,
Were you
yes.
surprised when you found out the city won?
We were quite
Yeah.
surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
for
for
the
that
first
amount.
time around, for $2 million, absolutely.
Yeah. Could it have been more? I mean, is there more available?
That was the maximum for that
Really?
1 year,
Okay.
and we could potentially apply for more
Okay.
if there was more funding available.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since that time, there's been an addition to that grant.
Yes,
Yeah.
and there was a supplemental Healthy Homes in addition, so we applied for that this year in August.
Okay.
And to our surprise too, actually, we received the maximum $300,000
Wow.
for the same period, and that enables us to address other issues in the home other than lead. So we might be looking at asbestos or mold, fire issues, health, heating, etc.
So $2.3 million.
That's right, yes.
That's fantastic. And how long does that go for?
That goes for 42 months,
Okay.
effective April 1st, so that will get us to September of 2022.
Okay. So folks are listening saying, gee, that sounds pretty good. Do I qualify? So who qualifies to get assistance?
Yep, so the program do come with some eligibility requirements,
Right.
and we're looking at properties that were built before 1978.
Okay.
That's properties that presumably with lead paint hazards, because there were lead in paints that were manufactured for that period, but however, fortunately, was banned after 1978. So first, that's the requirement. The home has to be built before 1978,
Okay.
which 75% of Quincy homes were.
I was just going to say, Quincy's an older city, so
Right,
yeah.
yeah. And
you find houses
second-
from the 1800s probably.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. And secondly, we look at the occupant's income eligibility.
Okay.
So, for example, if you are a household of 4, the maximum income would be $89,200 in order to qualify.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we also can qualify for vacant units, for example, or tenants. So we'll be looking at tenants' income if it's a rental unit.
Oh, okay, very good. Now, I'm assuming this are just privately owned properties?
Privately
not
owned
public housing.
residential. Yeah.
Okay, I know the public housing, they
Right.
deal with it on their own
Yes,
separately, yeah. So Nate, maybe we should ask you, once a person does qualify, what's the next step?
Yeah, so once an application has been submitted and the application is complete and the household is eligible and the unit is eligible, the next step is that the city will schedule a lead inspection
Okay.
in your home, and that inspection is completed by a state licensed inspector. So the cost of the inspection is funded through the program. So we'll send our inspector out to do an inspection of the home. They'll go through it, do a very thorough inspection that is done in accordance with the state law. And if there are any lead hazards identified, the next step is that the city will then develop essentially a work write-up for you. So an abatement plan for how all the lead hazards are going to be abated. And then the city we have a pool of de-leading contractors that we work with. We'll then bid the project out, we'll do a walkthrough on your home, and then we'll award the bid to the lowest bidder, award the project to the lowest bidder.
Okay, and again, no out-of-pocket costs for
No out-of-pocket
the
costs.
tenant
Yep.
or the property owner, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And there's also, we provide relocation assistance as well, so financial assistance. There are some lead projects where the occupant actually has to be out of the unit for the duration of the abatement, so it could be between, essentially 3 and 7 days. And we provide up to $1,000 to the occupant to help them get, a hotel or temporary housing during that time, which is really great. Particularly for landlords, because if they're doing the abatement work on their own, they typically have to pay for the costs of their tenants being
tenant,
out. So
right,
this
sure.
program funds that portion of it.
Okay.
And then once the abatement work is done, there will be a final inspection of your property done by a lead inspector. And then once all the hazards have been abated, the owner will be provided with a letter of full de-leading compliance, which is essentially your record showing that all the lead hazards have been abated. Now, it doesn't mean all the lead paint in your home has been abated. It
Oh.
just means the hazards have been abated.
Oh,
So,
okay.
lead on windowsills, lead on door jambs, lead on door edges, those sorts of things.
The accessible areas. So,
Yep.
Okay.
Areas that create dust.
But there still could be maybe lead in the plaster, if you will, behind the walls.
Yep.
Or
Yeah, and again, you don't have to scrape. We don't go in there and take all the lead out of the home. It's
Okay.
really just areas that are accessible, and then areas where the paint is not intact.
Okay. And now, is it up to the property owner or the tenant to repaint or kind of restore the property to its original condition without the lead, obviously?
So the owner does have ongoing maintenance requirements. So
Okay.
once you complete your de-leading project, you do want to make sure that you maintain the property essentially in the condition that it was in when the de-leading project was completed. Because
Okay.
you can have a unit that was brought into compliance,
Yep.
and then through normal wear and tear, it could fall out of compliance
Right.
because lead paint could chip or crack. So you'd want to address that. So.
Okay, all right, very good. Now, what happens with lead pipes, if you will, or because that's a concern also, is lead water pipes. Is this part of that program or no?
This program Sherry, does it? I'm forgetting.
No, this project,
No, okay.
unfortunately, it only addresses the lead paint.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, because I think it's important to know. I know the city was working on replacing a lot of lead water lines.
Right.
Even up to people's private properties, because that was a concern as well. But this is not under that.
Right, not for this program, unfortunately.
Okay, all right, very good. Now, up to $10,000, what if it costs more than that?
We do partner with the state.
Okay.
The state also has a Get the Lead Out program.
Yeah.
They offer extra funding at 0% interest loan.
Oh.
So if it's more than the $10,000, we could partner with them and obtain additional funds for the applicants.
Okay. Now, does the property owner have to go through the lead abatement program if it's determined that even if they qualify, do they have to follow through, or can they opt not to?
They can opt not to,
Okay.
not unless they have children under years of age living in there. So the lead law requires them, if they have occupants under 6 years old, they're required to have the unit lead safe.
Okay. And I would think it would add to the property value also.
Absolutely,
To be able
yeah.
to show that it's a lead-free home.
Yes, and the tax also gives them a tax break. Once they have their units abated, they can get up to 1,500, lead tax credit.
A credit? Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
very good.
state tax credit.
I see. Okay.
Yes.
So another incentive also on
Yeah.
top of the other obvious
Right.
benefits from that as well.
Yes.
So what's the actual application process? How does that work? Where do they get the application? Where do they go? How
Yeah.
long does it take?
We have the application on our website. Our website is officeofhealthyhomes.org.
Okay.
They can obtain there, or they can also call our office. We're happy to email or mail the actual application to their home.
Okay.
Our phone number is 617-376-1362. That's our general line, so they can obtain applications that way.
Okay.
Once they submit the application, together with supporting documents, we'll review and approve them, usually within 2 business days.
Oh.
And then we'll send out, if they're eligible, we'll send out the state licensed lead inspector to start the process that Nate just mentioned.
Okay. If they're not eligible, are you able to guide them in another direction to do it on their own if they choose?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If they're not eligible, again, we could guide them to the states, because
Right.
the state program actually have a higher income threshold. So if they're not qualified for our program, for example, if they're over income, we would direct them to the state's program.
Okay. Do you know about how many folks have taken advantage of the program so far?
Yep. So far, we have 10 projects in our current pipeline at various stages, and we have about 30 applicants on our pipeline that's waiting for them to complete their application.
Okay. And how many can you accommodate? What's
We
the
can
limit?
actually accommodate only 60 units in the next
Oh.
3 years. So yeah, we're way ahead of our schedule
Yeah.
here, and I think because it's such in a high demand,
Yeah.
So we're happy to see that, and that, you know, that allows us to request for additional funding, hopefully,
Right.
because there's such a need in the city.
Yeah, 'cause it sounds like you're going to meet that well before the 2022 deadline for
Right.
sure, because you're already halfway there. So,
Yeah.
are you pleased with that response? I mean, is that something that you're happy with? Nate, you're not,
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think we've been really pleased with the response that we've gotten,
Yeah.
particularly among Asian Americans. We've had a strong response from them, which is
Oh,
great.
really?
Yep.
To what do you attribute that?
I think that we've done a good job of translating our
Reaching out.
marketing materials
Okay.
into Chinese, so that people can access the programs. I think
Sure.
that's really one of the big ones.
Yeah,
We have
absolutely.
somebody in our office who speaks the language.
There
which
you
is
go.
huge,
Yeah,
so
that's
Sherry
helpful.
deserves a lion's share of the credit for that.
Okay.
But we found a lot of people who, grandma and grandpa, they might babysit children under 6
yeah.
frequently. So you don't necessarily have to have a child that lives with you all the time. There's a visitability standard. So essentially, if you have a child that visits you for 2 days a week,
Yep.
and on each visit they're there for more than 3 hours, then you're eligible for the program. So
Really?
we've actually gotten a lot of calls from folks who may, babysit grandchildren,
Yes.
and then for them, there's a lot of folks who are under the income limit, and they have children, they have their loved ones coming to their home very frequently.
That's
so
a great
it's,
point,
So it's
yeah.
a really good match. One of the first projects that we completed was a landlord property. So it was an investor-owned property, and they had 4 units. They were nearing completion on the rehab, and they found out about our program, and they realized that they didn't do a lead inspection, and they didn't do any de-leading. They were fairly certain that most of the lead had been taken care of just as part of the remodel that they did, but we actually went in there, we did an inspection, and we identified lead hazards, so we were able to abate those hazards through the program. They got a certificate of compliance, and now they have, their tenants are now moving in, even some with children under 6, which for us that's a really good outcome, because
Yes.
in Massachusetts, a lot of landlords will just avoid renting to families with children under 6, which is a violation of state and federal fair housing law.
Yes.
So this program is about public health, and it's also about fair housing. So it's been great to see landlords participate, and we really encourage more participation from landlords, because it can be a great resource, especially if you have units that are vacant and you're going to be turning them over. Again, we can finish a project within 6 to 8 weeks, and
Yeah.
a lot of it is about it's more about how quickly you can get your application and the application materials to
Right.
us, and we can do the underwriting, than it is working with the city. I think that we've developed a program that is very responsive to people, and things move pretty quickly, which is great.
6 to 8 weeks total, but the actual physical work, about a week, right, is when it's typically done. What about I'm thinking licensed daycare facilities? I mean, that's obviously a big concern as well. Would they be eligible?
For commercial daycare, they're required to do that already before they enroll.
Okay.
But for family daycares,
Yes.
the program will be able to assist them.
Okay.
So for family daycares, they're not required to have their home lead safe
Okay.
before they could start
Yeah.
taking in children. So definitely talk to us, and we could hopefully assist the family daycares in Quincy, which have quite a few numbers. Of
I would
them
think
in
so,
Quincy.
yeah,
Mhm.
sure. We've been putting the contact information up on the screen for folks, but
Great.
Sherry, if you would, again, just that website and phone
Yes,
number for
yeah.
folks.
So our website is www.officeofhealthyhomes.org, and our phone number is 617-376-1362. And Nate also briefly mentioned within the office we also have housing rehab programs, so
Yes.
that assists owners to do other repairs, such as replacing a brand new roof if they're leaking, and heating system is failing. So we do
Okay.
have that program. For that, if anyone's interested, there's a separate number they can call.
Sure.
That would be 617-376-1055.
Okay, very good. Anything else that you think we should add?
think that about covers it.
Okay. Apply soon, right?
Yes,
definitely
yeah,
apply.
apply now.
Yeah. Thank you both.
Great.
Really appreciate
Thank
it.
you,
Thank
Joe.
you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Hope it helps get the word out for you.
Thank you so
Great.
much.
Just enough time to recap the forecast for you for the rest of the day today. We'll see increasing sunshine throughout the afternoon, kind of breezy out there into the low 60s, down to the lower 50s under cloudy skies tonight. Those clouds bring some showers with them tomorrow afternoon. Mostly it'll be chillier. The rain will last into Wednesday morning. It'll clear out again on Thursday. Thanks again to Sherry Zoe and Nate Robinson for joining us from the Planning Department's Lead Abatement Program. Thanks to our crew, and thank you for watching. Friday at 11:30, members of the Quincy Symphony Orchestra here on another edition of Currently in Quincy. We'll see you then.